So, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jilitovich, and I'm an immigrant. I would like to thank you all for coming and having me here today, and I would like to thank you for Nassisi to provide us with questions that really helped us out to do the speech. Choosing just one to answer was difficult, but I decided to tell you all about why I came to Canada and story of how I arrived here in London. I will start providing you with some information on my homeland, Bosnia and Herzegovina. Bosnia and Herzegovina is nestled on the Balkan Peninsula, forming a triangular-shaped republic. While Bosnia region in the north is made of mountains and thick forest, the southern Herzegovina region is flat farmland used for agriculture. The narrow coastline stretches 20 kilometers along the Adriatic Sea and lacks natural harbors. My country is naturally beautiful and offers many opportunities for recreation in our varied landscape. Popular activities include river rafting, mountaineering, skiing, and other outdoor adventures. As some of you know, we held a 1984 Olympic Winters Game in Sarajevo. Bosnia and Herzegovina declared independence from Yugoslavia in December 1991, also asking recognition from European Union. In March 1992, a referendum was held, and Bosnian voters chose their independence. This fight for independence was unlike that of other former Yugoslav states, because whereas these were generally composed of one dominant ethnic group, Bosnia and Herzegovina is an ethnic mix composed of around 44% Muslims, 31% Serbs, and 17% of Croats, which created conflict and likely contributed to the long, often savage nature of the fight. I found the former Yugoslavia an excellent country to live, even though we had a communist regime during Tito's time. We did have freedom, and Yugoslavia was recognized anywhere in the world. I came from a middle-class family. Unfortunately, my both parents passed away, and all I have left are my three sisters. Two are located in Serbia and one in Bosnia. Before the war, religion was not such an issue. Therefore, my family has people of Muslim, Roman Catholic, Jewish, and Eastern Orthodox faith. During the war, most of my family were scattered, not by choice, through the world. My uncle and his family are in Denmark, and my aunt and her family in Sweden. On my father's side, I have an aunt in Atlanta, Georgia, as well as cousins in Florida, in California. Back home before the war, I co-owned upscale pizzeria. I had previously studied culinary arts at vocational school, after that taking a year to study in a specialized course on culinary arts, which also took me to Italy for 3 months to learn about Italian cuisine. I would have considered pursuing this vocation, perhaps teaching culinary arts classes, but was discouraged due to my language barrier upon arriving here in Canada. During the war, life was really tough. I was born and raised in Banja Luka. The city became part of Republic of Srpska, governed by the Eastern Orthodox. Other religions were not much welcomed, and our freedom became restricted. Each day I lived in fear of what may happen. Often we would live without electricity for months, occasionally getting hydro for an hour or so. But we are a nation of survivalists, and we knew how to manage our daily lives despite these limitations. At the time, my sexual orientation was not the priority. My priority had been my safety and that of my family. But it became clear to me I didn't have much of a choice when it came to leaving Bosnia. My choice were to go to Canada and live in peace and acceptance, or stay within war zone without work due to economy in consistent danger with poor quality of life. I knocked on the door of 23 embassies, and they all refused, having fulfilled their quotas for refugees. That is with exception of Canadian embassy. I was seeking a safe haven and the freedom to live and be myself. Canada opened their doors to me and provided me with the opportunity. I arrived as a government-assisted refugee in Ontario, Canada on July 21st, 1994. I was fortunate due to my prior education. I was able to find work quickly, spending 9 years as a chef at Delta London Armories Hotel. They used to call me Sugar Chef. At the same time, I started working with Cross-Cultural Learner Center as a part-time casual employee, which required me to wear many different hats within agency. I have been full-time at CCLC for 13 years now, but have been part of CCLC team for almost 20 years. My present position at the Cross-Cultural Learner Center is that of settlement counselor. There are 6 of us in total. My role is unique in that while I provide help for newcomers, I am also here to assist those in LGBTQ plus newcomer community with issues that they may encounter. My role at CCLC with LGBTQ plus clients enables me to advocate for clients and to provide sensitivity training to service providers and clients in school settings. I also began in 2008 a social support group to enable members of the community to meet and socialize in safe and accepting environment. So what are the challenges and barriers with settling? Some are loneliness, isolation, and homesickness are some of the biggest challenges faced by newcomers. Without my family to love and support me, I became depressed. Without my family to, being gay added additional stress. I was still in the closet when I arrived to Canada. The reason is because of my fearfulness of how others may react. And as well, being such a lover of food, I was also very concerned if I would be able to prepare food in the way I used to. Would I be able to find all the same ingredients and spices? There was a lot to adjust to about Canadian culture. And like most newcomers, I suffered from culture shock. I needed to learn Canadian laws, cues, and of course how to speak the language. In time and with help, I did all these things. How did I overcome barriers? As I mentioned previously, I was a government-assisted refugee. I used the services provided by the Cross-Cultural Learner Center. Now I work at CCLC and sit on 3 advisory committees. The first is Positive Spaces Initiative, the second, Accessibility. Those 2 programs are run by OCASI, Ontario Council of Agencies Serving Immigrants. And the third is HBT, Homophobia, Biphobia, Transphobia Working Group. Working at CCLC and being on those advisory committees has allowed me to share my experience as a newcomer and give personal feedback and advice to those in need. And the highlights of migration and settlement: I can now live freely without fear of prejudice or being looked at differently because of my sexual orientation. I can also be respected in society regardless of my religious beliefs. I can walk safely on the streets of London without fear of persecution and feel like I belong in this wonderful multicultural city. And what advice I can pass on? I learned that being a newcomer in a new country is not easy, but that if you know where to look and if you are willing to accept it, then help and support are always available. I can assure others that I chose the right city to begin a new life. London is increasingly diverse, as well as tolerant and friendly towards to those who identified as LGBTQ+. I have seen great deal of progress in this over my 20 years here. While there were many barriers to overcome, and although I had my share of negative encounters, I feel I have succeeded and settled happily here in Canada. I'm proud to be a Canadian citizen, and I will always cherish this land and our heritage.